Because I am going to wake us up again to pray. One of the desires in my soul is that men will pray. Are you getting it now? There are many things that God will want to do in this campus. The ability to bring those things to pass is not that you are a student here. The ability to bring it to pass is not that you are one of the JCCF schools. The ability to bring it to pass is not that you are a castle school. The ability to bring it out is that you are one of the people ordained to become a priest in this territory. Are you getting it now? The way God worked in the Old Testament, he needed a priest to oversee a territory. But in the New Testament order, that order was changed. It became the order that they needed 12 apostles to call 120 into the upper room. Are we together now? They needed 12 to call 120 into the upper room. And they needed 120 so that the gospel can spread. So you see, it is not about becoming a priest that oversees Israel. It's about men that can be able to travel far in God and then trap down the realities of God in that very territory. As I'm talking to some of you, your days are beginning to expire in this territory and your assignment are not touched. My heart burns for the people who are advancing to their third year, to their fourth year. Probably when you were coming to this territory, the Lord gave you an architectural pattern. He gave you an order. He gave you a program that when you come into, see, some of you that came into Imsu, you did not come as a student. It was a disguise. It was what? It was what? For hell to admit Jesus, he had to appear as a sin, not as a sinner. Are you getting it now? For hell to accept Jesus, he had to appear as sin. And that is the only certificate they admit you into hell. So when Jesus came, he refused to come as the righteous one. He came as sin. And then when hell discovered that this is sin, they admitted him. But when he got into hell, the Bible talks about that he began to preach to the prophets that have died without salvation. He began to preach to the priest that has died before salvation. And then they were so scared. Who is this man that has come into this place? And he came in disguise of darkness. But his assignment is to bring illumination in hell. So some of you, when you were coming, the Lord told you, go and study medicine. Go and study mass comm. But God was sending a pastor. Because the need of the campus was for God to send a shepherd. So when you came, you became more serious with your academics and then forfeiting the flocks that God has kept within your jurisdiction. And then your days are beginning to ring over. What are you doing about those days? One of my cry this evening is that even though you will say, Lord, is remaining 1 year, but let that 1 year become 1 year that will bring your tangibility in this campus. Are you getting it now? When we are talking about the kingdom is something very serious. The kingdom is not what we do in fellowship. The kingdom is not actually summarized in prayers. There is something bigger than prayer. Are we together now? You know that prayer is a means, is a system. There is something that prayer brings you into. So whatever that prayer brings you into is bigger than prayer. Are you getting it now? So when I stay in an environment and I see people who are trying to create an attempt to trivialize prayer, the moment you are preaching to me and you say it's not by prayers, everything you have preached is cleaned. Because it will not profit me. Because I will find out that knowledge did not travel through the accurate means. Because the means through which that knowledge should come from and then can be able to stay forever is that it came through prayer. Are you getting it now? So when you are teaching me and you are telling me that it is not about prayer, then I am seeing that knowledge did not come through prayer. It did not come from God. It came through a means and it cannot last. This is why we have more Christians before who has become atheists in our churches today. We have people who once touched the gift of the Holy Ghost, who once operated in the prophetic, but they are the ones talking down in those things. Why? Because those days they read those things through the books of Benjamin. They lacked an experiential knowledge. So when they begin to journey into knowledge that are very, very abstract to their experience, the recompense is that they are being drifted away from God. Am I talking to some people? Am I talking to some people?